What's up, guys? So, full transparency, my brain was not clicking this morning. I've started two videos already and stopped because I just could not get my train of thought. But screw it, I'm just going to go with this one and we'll see where it goes. It may be a short video. I'm just not feeling very engaged this morning. I might just leave this one as a shout out to everyone in my life. Anyone who's watching these videos, who's watching this video, I've been overcome recently with an incredible amount of emotions, particularly I would say gratitude. I've I've found myself smiling for no particular reason, laughing, crying, just feeling all these emotions that I think I've been told to repress throughout my whole life, particularly being a male. We're always told it's not okay to cry. Even being happy, you can't be too happy. You have to be very stoic and calm and just unemotional and smooth. And allowing these emotions to come out has been very, very transformative. I feel so much lighter, and I just feel like I'm much more able to connect with life, with what each moment is offering, and not feel ashamed of what emotion is coming up in me. So I guess that's what I'll touch on really quick is shame. And I will probably do another follow-up video on this maybe later today or in the future. But shame is something that is an incredibly insidious emotional state to carry around, because the belief that it has with it is I'm not good enough. If we feel shame, we're walking around looking at the world through the lens of inferiority. We see everyone as better than us in some way. When we see someone doing well, instead of being happy for them and understanding it's an abundant world, we'll be jealous or envious or bitter about other people's success. Because we're coming from this feeling of lack and not enough, we will perpetually view everything else as an example of why we're not good enough. The world ends up being our mirror, and whatever emotion we're feeling, the world is just going to feed that back into us and internalize that feeling. And shame in particular is something, I've touched on this a little bit before, but it's something I only realized recently that I was harboring a ton of. And, even all these videos, the fact that I've been able to release shame has helped me feel comfortable enough with myself and my ideas and just my voice and my truth to share all these videos. But shame is something that until we're allowed to let go of it, until we allow ourselves to let go of it or process it, it'll direct all our choices. And I know in my life, it affected so many things. I mean, shame affects you spiritually, emotionally, physically. I've shared this before as well when it comes to like a body image thing. I was, in my teens, I was never a heavy set kid, but I had like a little extra body fat. And during the time when, of course, hormones start raging and girls start to become attractive, then they no longer have cooties. I would get shamed a little bit for, not being like super lean. And that messed with my head definitely a lot. And I think I built up a lot of shame around my physical body. So when I got interested in working out in high school, that was a game changer for me. Like 16, 17, 18-year-old, I got really ripped. I got really in good shape. And I didn't get rid of the shame. What I did was cover it up with a false bravado and a false ego built on being this super ripped, super attractive guy, because my whole identity was attached to my looks and my appearance. And what motivated me to stay healthy and in shape for most of my 20s was shame. And I would be willing to bet most of you can resonate to some degree. If it's not your physical body, it's some other thing. Maybe it's why you're going to college. Maybe you're ashamed of who you really are, but you're going to college to appease your parents or society or your friends. But what shame has you do is it has you acting from a place of scarcity. You're trying to prove something. You're saying, I'm not good enough as I am, and until I look a certain way or act a certain way or have this, I'm not good enough. And it will direct your life, and no matter what you have, you're always going to feel that shame. You can try to run away from it as much as you want, but it will always be there until you handle it, until you process it. And I'm so grateful for this like 6-week group that I found that ended last week. It was a small group with a bunch of guys, and we were really able to process shame. And I give a huge shout out to 2 guys who spearheaded it, Simon and Mason. And they taught me so much that being vulnerable is the way to true healing. And only by taking off our armor, taking off our masks, and truly looking at ourselves and what's been wounded, that's the only way we can heal. So these men started by sharing their authentic truth. They shared deep stories about when they felt shame. And from there, I was able to share some of my stories, and all of us in the group were able to do that, and it allowed for a collective healing process. And since that time, I actually shared my first video on YouTube where I talked about anxiety and depression, and that was such a light bulb moment. It was literally like 10 to 15 years of shame were just completely removed, and it felt incredible. And I feel so much lighter now because I realize there's nothing truly to be ashamed of ever. We are all perfect as we are. We just get all these false beliefs get added into our head by other people out of insecurity or just society. And the sad thing is we believe these lies and we build our lives based on these lies. I'd be willing to bet there are many, many people who live their entire lives trying to outrun shame, trying to prove themselves to someone or something or the world. And I mean, the sad thing is so many people succeed at it. I was succeeding at it for most of my 20s. I was in very good shape. I was like, oh, wow, I look so attractive. And I became attached to that identity. But in reality, I was harboring so much deeper stuff beneath the surface. So I never quite felt right. There was always something that told me that my happiness was very shaky. It was built on a foundation of sand. I knew it could collapse at any moment because my self-esteem was grounded in something external, something that could be taken away. And once you release that shame and understand that you are truly perfect as you are, and you build your foundation for your life on something solid, we can call it the soul or God. It's something intangible that can never be taken away from you. And we all have that within us. And I would charge you to, if you really want to change, and if you really, really, really want to be free, and you want to live a life based on what you truly want, find a way to release shame. Journal about it, reach out, find a way to be very real about what you're scared of showing to the world. I promise you it will be worth it. And I really want to make it my vision to help people overcome this and just to connect authentically, because I think it's something that we all strive for intimacy and connection, deep, deep connection beneath our egos, beneath the face we put on for the world. We all strive for it, but yet we're all terrified. So ironically enough, we all walk around every day with a mask on, and we're just interacting. My mask meets your mask. And what my goal is to pierce that veil that we see the world through and connect to someone else's soul and not just their created image that they've projected onto the world. I apologize if this got a little ranty. I'm just very, very passionate about this, and I'm excited to see what else I can uncover in myself and what else I can share with you guys. And just I want to be a leader on this movement because it's so important. It's so important, and I'm so passionate about this. So thank you again to anyone who's watching this. I would love to chat with you. I would love to have a real, deep, meaningful discussion on life with you. Please reach out. We can meet up if you live locally. We can talk on Skype or Zoom. I just would love to connect with you. Not who the world thinks you are, but you. And I think that's how we change the world, is by letting people be themselves. Peace out, guys. Have a great week, and I will talk to you tomorrow.